Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level.
Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 2 of TCSX. My name's Keegan. I'm one half of Level 2 Gamers, hanging out with Tom, the other half of Level 2 Gamers. How you doing today?
As well as any Englishman can be doing on July 4th.
Yeah, we're recording this 4th of July, otherwise known as Trader Day.
Treason Day.
Treason Day. Close enough.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, or if you haven't joined us for the last episode of TCSX is your PlayStation podcast where we give you the latest news, some new releases, we read the drop, we give a question, all that kind of stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into this, Tom.
Sure, go for it.
So the first thing we've got going on here is we've got Mass Effect Andromeda, no single-player DLC.
Yeah, I read this.
So let
it made me a sad puppy.
Let me do this, then we'll discuss because you love this.
All right, go on.
So this is from Jason Schreier from Kotaku, who has been known to have good connections to things.
How do you pronounce that? Is it Kotaku?
Kotaku. That's how he says it, Kotaku.
Okay.
I'm going to go with him because he works there.
All right.
That's my guess.
I guess.
A widely shared Facebook post claimed that BioWare had canceled Mass Effect Andromeda's downloadable content. The good news, that Facebook post was a hoax. The bad news, they guessed correctly that Mass Effect Andromeda will indeed not be receiving any single-player DLC. 3 people familiar with BioWare's plans have told Jason Schreier.
So, wait. So there was a hoax that there was not going to be any DLC
because the game flopped.
And then there really isn't any DLC. So how is it a hoax if it's real?
No, there's DLC, no single-player DLC.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. No,
this will be a drastic departure for the long-running sci-fi series. All 3 Mass Effect games received single-player content after launch, with expansions like Mass Effect 2 Layer of the Shadow Broker and Mass Effect 3 Citadel earning praise for their stories and character development. Fans had expected a similar approach for Mass Effect Andromeda, but mediocre reviews and animation memes have steered the series in an unfortunate new direction. BioWare has also shelved plans for a sequel for Mass Effect Andromeda, sources say.
Wow.
So it sounds like Mass Effect is kind of done based on that. Or they'll try and reboot it. I think that what could happen with this is I feel like Mass Effect Andromeda, if that was supposed to be like a series of things, is done. It didn't do what it's supposed to do.
That's fine. Like I'm okay if they ditch Mass Effect Andromeda and then they say, okay, here's
4
Mass
or 5
Effect 4.
4 or 5 years 4 or 5 years down the road, they're like, we're going to bring it back. We know we screwed it up.
Shepard's still here, etc., etc. Like that I'm fine with. But here's the thing, like Mass Effect Andromeda had so much weight on its shoulders to carry that series because that trilogy is known as being one of the greatest trilogies in video games, bar none. And
also very controversial from what I hear.
Yeah, the ending was controversial because
I've never played it, so I don't know.
Well, it's one of the only games I can think of ever actually that the fans got so pissed off about the ending they added a third option because it was either like good ending or bad ending, which both of them were kind of shitty, to be honest. So they had this kind of like a mediocre middle ending that you felt okay about, but it still wasn't really very good. And the problem is there was such a build-up and there was so much time invested in that game that the ending just was not worth the payoff. So with Andromeda, you know, silly memes and things like that aside, it's a decent game. It really is. Like, you know, having played it as much as I have, it's honestly a very enjoyable game. So it's really sad that they're just like going to leave it at that. And I mean, they had that patch to improve a bunch of features with it and everything. And
but it's one of those things. Was it too little, too late to fix it? Because from what as somebody who's not played the series, and obviously I'm guess a little biased based on what I read, based on impressions, because I've not played it for myself. So I'm going to full disclaimer there. But everything I read was avoid this game.
Yeah.
So somebody who's looking to get the game, like, you could tell me you loved it, but everybody else is saying don't do it.
I would say as a first Mass Effect game, don't do it, honestly. But like you'd have to have played the trilogies to fully appreciate this game. It is a solid
Which is sad because that's not how
fun.
a game should work.
I know, but it's just with this particular game.
Because I'm not going back and play the first
fourth
three.
in a story-based series, and again, this is an okay jumping on point because it's nothing to do with Shepard. He's who was the main character of the first 3, or Fem Shep, I think was if you were a girl, but. Yeah, it's a little sad. I kind of hope it was just like they'll consider it to be a spin-off of the series that wasn't as successful, and they'll come back to it strong with something that's worthy, because it's so much good material. There are so many great sci-fi build-ups and races and towns and cities and planets, and you just feel like it's such a wasted opportunity. But, you know, I also really want to know what happened. Like, what went wrong that made the game that we got instead of the game that everyone was expecting? Do you think they were rushed? because I mean, I wasn't expecting to see a Mass Effect for years, and then suddenly when it came out, it was like. It was almost like they teased it too early.
EA published it, right? It's an EA published game, I believe.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
It was BioWare, but it's not. It wasn't.
It's BioWare developed.
It wasn't
but EA
team.
Publish.
It wasn't the A team.
It wasn't.
BioWare.
It wasn't the
it
Anthem
was
team.
The B team. BioWare.
It wasn't Anthem.
Yeah.
Which looks fantastic, by the way.
Right.
As of the
and
two trailers we've seen.
If those guys, if the A team BioWare or the Anthem guys get on a Mass Effect, I think they'd be fine. But it's just weird. I don't know.
The thing with this is. Two questions. One, I wonder if they didn't put the A team on it because they were concerned about Mass Effect because the first games were so well received that like this is a test to see if we should do another one, and they did, and they did it.
Yeah.
Versus like, and the other big complaint a lot of people have right now too in the industry, and I'm not trying to defend EA by any stretch of the imagination because EA is known for doing sequel, but they need new IPs. People need new IPs. We always talk about Call of Duties. We always talk about Assassin's Creed having franchise fatigue. Even Battlefield a little bit. Battlefield kind of brought it back with Battlefield 1. Probably hopefully Call of Duty will do it. Call of Duty World War II.
Excited about that.
But like,
I gotta be honest.
At the same time, it's just like we need new stuff to get excited about. And I think Anthem. It's funny because Anthem was one of those games I knew nothing about going into it. I saw it and I go, "Holy shit!" That's the game that kind of caught my attention the most outside of Nintendo stuff because I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy. So it gets me excited that they're doing that, and the fact that the developers that made such a well-received trilogy are working on that. Like, I don't know why they didn't put it into Andromeda. I don't know if it's just kind of saying, "Hey, we're going to sell this just to the hardcore fans, and that's it."
I don't know. I almost feel like the A team at BioWare said, "Okay, we want a new Mass Effect game.
Is Mr. T in that?
We're gonna avoid going anywhere near Shepard and his story. This is going to be a spin-off. Here's the rough idea of what we want. Go for it." And I wonder if they just kind of did it almost as like a test or almost as kind of we should probably be working on a Mass Effect, but it doesn't have to be like super, uber good. It just has to be a decent Mass Effect game.
They'll sell it based on the name.
Yeah. So it's hard to tell, but I do think they dropped the ball. It doesn't instill a great deal of confidence for whatever the next Dragon Age game is, and I am a big Dragon Age fan as well. I just love BioWare in general, but the fact that they are apparently giving up on additional content
for Andromeda,
that kind of stuff.
They didn't say anything about the series. Just Andromeda is kind of
but it doesn't bode well, does it?
No, I'm not. So. Yeah, it doesn't bode well at all. But it's one of those things where just like Mass Effect might still be around for years to come. We're still waiting on Half-Life 3. That might be coming at some. That's not coming at some point. 3. That's not coming at some point. Next bit of news. I believe you sent this to me. Shenmue 3 gets updated logo, new announcements, and footage coming soon, according to GameSpot.
You know why I sent this to you? Because you're always bitching about Sony taking too long to make things that they announced at E3. So I was like, look, they did something. It could have been anything, but it was
Developer Yeeznet has revealed a fresh logo for Shenmue 3 at the same time as teasing some new announcements coming soon. In an update on the game's official website, developer said it took fans' comments into consideration when designing the new logo. Elsewhere in a blog post, Yeeznet said it will attend Gamescom 2017 in Germany, where it will show its newest movie clips, show latest updates, and even make some new announcements. On top of that, you ready for this? There's lots of Shenmue news here.
Awesome.
In a recent development update, series creator Yu Suzuki announced Shenmue 3 has been delayed until 2018. The game was previously tentative December 2017 release window, but in an update to Kickstarter backers, Suzuki said more time is needed to fully realize its vision.
I'm fine with that.
Quote, "By utilizing new technologies, we have been able to discover new possibilities and expressions," he explained. "In many ways, the game has become bigger and more beautiful than I initially expected. We do, however, need more time to deliver the game to you. In order to achieve the game concept you supported and my 16-year-long personal dream, we have revised development schedule. We are moving ahead with a plan to release the game in the second half of 2018. I don't think it's going to hit that.
I'm all right with it.
It's going to be 2019.
I mean, it might, but I'm all right with it.
You know how I say Sony takes forever to do shit? This is 2019. That was announced in 2016.
I know, but
so I'm defending my stance.
No, that's fine. Here's the thing about Shenmue: the people waited 16 fucking years anyway, right? And
it's like Last Guardian.
There's a little bit of like concern of like Last Guardian and all the other games that kind of came out of the blue recently, but Shenmue is an interesting beast of a game. I would love to see HD remasters made of the original Dreamcast versions so that I could replay it.
That's gonna be hard.
Yeah, it would be really
just based
hard.
on I don't know technology they use for Dreamcast versus.
Yeah, I mean,
PS4.
I would love to see him at least try it. I mean, they can do all kinds of stuff these days, but
it's expensive.
With Shenmue 3, I don't know. It's just when he says things like we discovered new technology, to me that sounds like he's saying, okay, we saw LA Noire at some point, and then we learned that facial animations are a thing, and we decided that we want to make them better or whatever, and. It just seems like if you're gonna delay a game, delay it because you want to make it a better experience, not because you couldn't meet your deadline, which I don't think is the case here. I think he's actually genuinely discovered more things that he's excited to include in the game, and because it's such a passion project for him, he wants it to be as perfect as possible. So he's taken his time, and honestly, even though a lot of people are gagging at the bit to play Shenmue 3, I would just say, if you want to play the type of Shenmue 3 that is in your head that you think is going to be like this mind-blowing experience, wait. Yeah. Let him do it. And you know what? If it takes all this extra time and it comes out and it sucks, then rip him to shreds. But in the meantime, if the developer is asking for time and giving you a reasonable explanation as to why, I think that's okay. I'm fine.
I think we both are on board with the delays aren't bad necessarily.
No.
If a game gets delayed,
depends why.
If game gets delayed multiple times, then it becomes a little bit more of a red flag.
It gets delayed multiple times because people are like dropping off the team, or because they're trying to like skimp and find an exact release window where it's not clashing with something else, or those shitty reasons, that's annoying. But if you're doing it because you want to make the best game possible and you don't want to have to like patch it day one like every other fucking game that comes out these days, that's commendable in my opinion, and I'm fine with that. That just means he's taken that Rockstar level of like, we take our time, we do it right, we release it one time, it's good to go. So I'm fine with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Next one. Sony removes world's fastest platinum, according to PlayStation Lifestyle. You're not a platinum guy, are you? I'm going to move the microphone over here so when I read this.
I have a single platinum.
I have one. I have one for The Division, as you know.
Yeah.
Released earlier this week in North America for PlayStation 4 at 98 cents USD. 5-star, 1,000 top rated, which promises the world's fastest platinum trophy unlock has been removed from the PlayStation Store by Sony. It isn't due to the quality concerns, though, but rather the fact that PlayStation Store's description and above trailer have heavily promoted the Easy Platinum Trophy unlock. The developer revealed on their Facebook, "Hi everyone, Sony has pulled the game temporarily and asked me to change the game's name and not to mention trophies in the store trailer. I'm happy to comply. I don't know when it'll be released again, but I'll update this page as soon as I know." Thoughts on that? Because I think
What game is this? What's it called?
It's called 5-star, 1,000 top. It basically is an easy platinum. So
why? So did they make it to be an easy platinum?
Yes, it's the game. Basically, if you go in its advertisement for their 4K backgrounds for PS4, which is smart on them. This thing's gotten a lot of attention because of what has happened here.
Right.
And people who care about trophies will go for that platinum trophy. I don't care as much, and I don't think you care as much about trophies. Like, they're cool when they get them. Like, I probably will platinum Star Trek because I'm so close to doing it already that I'm like, might as well finish it. That's how I do trophies. I don't hunt for them. But this opens up to me a bigger conversation with Sony. They're not removing this game because of quality. The game is basically, I don't think you've seen the trailer, obviously.
No.
But it's basically one of those slider puzzles with pictures that does the 4K. It's the 4K things they sell.
Okay.
And it's just, you got to solve the puzzles, and after 20 minutes, you'll get a platinum for solving all the puzzles. It's real simple. There's videos on YouTube tells you what to do exactly.
I don't really see a problem with that as a concept.
You don't see a problem with not having a quality control?
No, I mean, well, it's not quality control, though, is it? It's a game, and you play it. It's cheap as fuck, and if you complete it, you get a platinum.
But is it a game? It's an advertisement.
Well, so you said it's a jigsaw puzzle, right?
It's a sliding puzzle.
And what happens when? Yeah, all right, sliding jigsaw puzzle. Let's say. So what happens when you complete a puzzle? What do you get?
You go to the next puzzle.
Do you get that as a screensaver or something?
No, you have to buy them.
So it's just a
They're
sliding
advertising
thing.
for the website.
You slide them all together, and in 20 minutes you get a trophy. Yeah, I mean, all it is to me, it sounds like a mobile game that they've put on the PlayStation.
So that's the issue I have with this. Yeah. So the issue I have with this is quality of the game.
Okay.
I don't have an issue. I have also an issue with Sony.
Have you played it?
I have. I bought it.
Really?
Yeah. I bought it to see what, because I knew I was going to cover this, so I wanted to try it. So I have an issue with this for two reasons. One, the fact that Sony pulled it because they talked about trophies, and that's what this game was selling. It was like, hey, here's an easy platinum, go buy our shit.
What side of the fence are you on in that argument, though? Sony's or the other guys?
I think selling a game based on trophies is dumb.
Okay.
But I also think Sony should not pull a game because of that.
Yeah.
I think they should pull the game because of quality.
I agree.
The problem Sony has right now with the PSN store, and one of the reasons we do our spotlights, is there's so much shit on there that There's nobody going like there should be somebody at Sony somewhere saying, who is this game for? And why does this game exist? This game existed to give you a platinum and to sell their stuff. That's why that game existed. That's not a game. It's like that White Tiger or Black Tiger.
I haven't played it, so I was just going off the description that you gave me, which was you solve puzzles, and in 20 minutes, if you've solved all the puzzles, you get a platinum, which to me sounds perfectly fine. But if they're just like advertising you,
that's what it is,
and saying like,
that's why it's 98 cents.
Yeah, so yeah,
free.
maybe. So, I do think it's silly for Sony to pull it because they said that it's a world fastest platinum. But if they pulled it because it's a piece of shit, then that's a different story.
I think they should pull it because it's a piece of shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If that was their reasoning, it would be better.
Yeah, because the game's going to come back. The developer quote says, Sony has asked me the game has been temporarily removed. Sony has asked me to change the game's name and not to mention trophies in the store trailer.
What's wrong with the game's name?
5-star, 1,000 top rated.
What's wrong with that?
That's clickbait.
Well, I mean, it's not any more weird than half of the Japanese things that are in this super ultra mega.
But that's a real.
Time.
But that's kind of a real. This is meant to be clickbait. I mean, that's what this intention of this was. Is clickbait.
Okay.
And I think that's the issue with it. And again, this comes down to I think Sony needs somebody to curate quality because the PSN store has too many stupid ports, too many stupid things that shouldn't be on there that needs to be weaned out.
I mean. Inner Kung Fu is literally I have no idea where that game is.
That's what I'm saying. Like shit like that should not be there. Like if I mean it's for someone probably loves that game. I doubt it.
I do too.
I see exactly. Like who's that game for?
Pigeon dating sims?
So listen to this. Yeah. So you have that shit on there that you got to wean through. That's gonna make people. That's more stuff to go through to find the good games. The good games then potentially may not rise to the top because they'll get buried under all the shit and people won't search for them anymore because of that.
You're saying
so Sony has to
let's not let it turn into a wee bloatware situation where every game is just a piece of shit.
Or do that or find a better way to curate them to say, hey, these are the top indie games right now, which they have the top rated, but I wish they'd have like top for the month or whatever.
To be fair to them, they do say put a full description in, they do say put a trailer in.
But clearly it doesn't matter.
It
clearly doesn't matter.
Also, if you're, no offense to you, but if you're dumb enough to spend 98, I know you did it for science, but if you're dumb enough to spend 98 cents on a game,
people are doing it for the platinum. Like, I know people who bought this game just because it's an easy platinum because they're a trophy hunter.
I don't know. Like, you know what? Half of me agrees with you, and it's like. Half of me is just like, yeah, quality control, etc., etc.
I have a big issue with the
other half
quality
of me
control.
is just like, I don't give a shit. Like, who fucking cares? Really?
There are a lot of people that care, like me.
Apparently.
Yes. Yeah. Next bit of news.
Do you care, viewer, listener?
Did you buy 5-star top 1,000
rated super happy?
Yeah, whatever it's called. Next bit of news. Friday the 13th is banning players according to PlayStation Lifestyle. Gun Media and Ilphonic, I think that's how you say that? Ilphonic have said they will be permanently banning players who violate rules pertaining to some major areas of concern in Friday the 13th, the game. The list of offenses that developer posted on Reddit includes abusive exploits, racism, threats of violence, and more. Here's the list, Tom. You ready?
How are you not going to threat violence in a game where you get to play Jason?
There's a difference between threatening violence in the game as the character versus threatening violence against the human being behind the game playing.
That's fair.
Six.
Go for it.
Deliberate third-party hacking software. Anyone caught with automation, speed wall hacking, and other third-party microsystems to give an edge in-game will result in a ban. So this sounds like
fair. Ban them. I hate hackers more than anything. They ruin Modern Warfare 2. Fuck you guys.
Threats of violence, rape, sexual assault. Those using voice chat to threaten or harass other users with threats of sexual violence, rape, or domestic violence to agree unsuitable for social standards will result in a ban.
I would love that, but how do they police that?
Reporting. Dude, the reporting system, like, the other concern you have here is it's going to go, don't want it to go too far the other direction.
Yeah, but if people are just reporting people,
that's what I'm saying.
How do they prove it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I could report you for being like sexually abusing me on the thing, and they have to be able to actually. I guess they could follow the player.
Well, and the other thing you've got too is think about it. If the PlayStation's always recording, so you could save that video, or I guess it still wouldn't matter unless there's a glitch. But you save that video, like I saw, the other day on Twitter, some dude tweeted at Friday the 13th saying ban this player because he's one of the dudes that was standing on the roof exploiting that glitch. And Friday the 13th's like, send us his username and this information here, or text chat or whatever. Like, there's ways to do it to get it, and I'm sure they've taken the due diligence to make sure they don't just randomly ban a bunch of people.
I hope so.
So if they haven't done that and it becomes an issue, then we go the other way and you're like, well, fuck.
My concern is also though, how do they I mean, how do they know if you are doing it in character or if you are doing it? Because
it's easy to tell.
Because I mean, I'll run around and
you're not going to be like
Jason is I sound like the greased up guy from Family Guy. I'm like, you're never gonna catch me.
But you're not like I'm gonna rape you and brutalize you. Like
I mean, yeah, but some players that get into the Jason thing might be like, I'm gonna cut your fucking head off, and you know.
But so then the other thing is that versus lobby. What's it like in the lobby then afterwards?
Yeah,
because you have lobby in between.
Yeah,
number 3, racism/discrimination.
Get them out.
Those caught being racist or discriminatory towards others will result in a ban.
Yep, fair.
This one is the most controversial one to me. Deliberately helping Jason. This one is a bit trickier. We will ban the Jason player and those helping Jason for deliberately helping Jason win a match through killing other teammates or working to farm XP. That's a harder one to
police.
Yeah. Like when I guess I'm assuming this all pertains to public servers because for us, if we're in a private server, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Like we can do whatever the hell we want in a private server with our
Because
friends.
a lot of people like that make video content and stuff like us, like we haven't had chance to kill Jason yet, but I'm sure that if we wanted to just show what that looked like, we should be able to set it up and do it.
In a private, like in a private server.
Yeah, not a public
which is fine. Deliberate abuse of exploits. Exploit usage that results in deliberate griefing of others to gain advantage and overall reduce enjoyment for other players will result in a ban.
I like how they're perma-banning as well. It's just like, fuck you, you're not even on a temporary ban. Get the fuck out of here.
Last one. Do not pretend to be an employee of Gun, Media, or Ilphonic. Anyone utilizing usernames that attempt to act as a member of our team or speak in-game as employee of our team will result in a ban. I wonder how big of an issue that's been.
Yeah.
The fact that they're bringing that
Clearly
up.
someone's done
Clearly
that.
that's happened.
That's one of those rules that you know it's a rule because someone broke it.
Yeah. So that's the 6 reasons why you'll get banned in Friday the 13th. So don't do any of those things.
Yeah.
I think most of them are fair. I think, like you said, a couple of them are going to be
hard to police, but
Yes.
I do think that if you can police it in a way that does not allow for an exploit of getting people perma-banned that are playing the game normally.
And if there's an appeal
or at
process.
least an appeal process, yeah. At least so you can say like, no, like show me the evidence of this that I did this and etc.
The question is it guilty until proven innocent, or is it innocent until proven guilty?
Yeah.
That's where you run into.
America.
Well, in America legal system says you're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Private companies don't have to follow that.
Yeah, nor do the police apparently.
Yeah. Last bit of news. There's kind of a little game that came out last week called Crash Bandicoot. The Insane Trilogy.
That was my crash noise. Did you like that?
I don't think that's what Crash.
No, it's nothing like that.
When you hit the things, it goes shooting across the screen.
It was trying to make the spinny noise. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like
Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, the biggest single platform launch of the year.
yeah.
Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy has launched in the UK to incredible sales. Launched exclusive for PS4, it is the biggest single platform launch of the year so far, beating out Horizon Zero Dawn.
Wow.
For 2017 to date, Crash is the year's second largest overall launch, behind multi-platform release Ghost Recon Wildlands, which that's so surprises me that Ghost Recon's number one. I get it because I mean a lot of us bought it, but
You know,
it wasn't that good of a game.
I saw it on sale the other day, and I was like, Keegan really wants me to buy this, and I was like, it's like $35. I said I would get it if it was like 30.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. I haven't heard you play it in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Everyone else is already bored of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get it.
It's an incredible result for the trilogy remake, and the first time in Crash history the character has won #1 in the UK.
Yeah.
Here's the top 10 for just FYI.
Do it.
You got Crash, Micro Machines, which that kind of surprised me.
Did I yet?
GTA 5, Horizon 3, FIFA 17, Overwatch, Elite Dangerous, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Dirt, and Rocket League. So it's not a list to sneeze at. There's some good games in there.
Micro Machines, is that out yet?
It is, because it's on this list.
Well, this is it's a UK company that makes that game, though.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's just not come to North America yet, because I haven't seen it in the store.
I don't know. It was on the drop last week. It should be out. It wasn't on Tuesday. It came out on the 30th,
Oh.
I believe.
Yeah, it
I
was
could
on
be
the
wrong
drop,
on that.
wasn't it?
Yeah. So that's exciting. Like the fact
great.
that
Yeah.
fact that Crash is
Well
number one.
deserved.
Also, the rumor is it is coming multi-platform, because there's nowhere it says exclusively on PS4, only on PS4, and we've seen leaks of it potentially on Xbox.
Everything I've seen has sort of mentioned it as being a delayed release, or delayed or timed exclusive, I think is the official terminology.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what the time frame looks like. I don't know if it's going to be a couple months or a year or whatever. But I think it deserves a little bit of PS exclusivity. I mean, it
Crash
was born
game.
on the fucking Sony console. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm not like saying don't give it to Xbox, but you know, at least
I think
let us enjoy it because it's
the love.
It's our mascot.
It's like if Microsoft makes it so it never will happen, but if Halo for whatever reason was made by a third party developer and came out, say the Master Chief Remastered collection. It was third-party developer, and it came out to PlayStation eventually. I wouldn't have an issue with that. Granted, that's, in my brain, a little bit more synonymous with Xbox than Crash is with PlayStation, because there are Xbox games with Crash
like
later on.
The Naughty Dog of...
But it's one of those things where you're just like, you got to understand where you came from.
Yeah.
And I'm 100%... Like, I want everybody to play that game. I want to pick up that game at some point.
But...
Wait. It's
I'm not that nostalgic about Crash as a lot of people are. I enjoyed it for sure, but I'm not like gagging at the bit to play it. But I will pick it up on a sale, and I'm happy for it.
A lot of my friends are playing it
because they put
real hard,
a
apparently.
lot of work into that. Well, of course, it's hard as an old game. People forget old games were hard.
Best platforming game. Somebody said this is the best platforming experience they've ever had.
Really?
And that's quite a high honor when you're considering how many platform games are out there at this point.
Yeah, considering that it's based off a game that's however old, I forget how old.
Well, the platform mechanics in Crash Bandicoot have always been good.
Yeah.
A lot of people, if they've never played Crash and hopping in now, the big complaint is getting used to the camera angle.
Oh yeah, it's
like that's the big one. People
especially
are like,
running towards the screen thing is the worst.
Or the jumping like backwards.
Yeah.
Towards something.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't judge that jump. Anyways, let's move on to the new releases. We got the drop. There's not very much compared to last week.
The drop sucks this week.
Drop is kind of small this week.
Yeah, it's like they just expelled all of their energy last week, and they were just like, you know what, let's just give them a couple indies.
Would you say that their energy cycle is running low, Tom?
I would say that their energy cycle is running low.
So, energy cycle. PS Vita out digitally on the 7th.
It's got a lightning kitty.
It does. It's got a lightning kitty.
It's like Pikachu's cousin. Look at the tail and everything.
Yeah.
That is a straight Pokemon ripoff.
A new puzzle game from Energy Balance, or developers of Energy Balance. When you click each cell of the game field, it changes colors. The colors of the adjacent cells horizontally and colors the adjacent cells. Try that again. Take two. A new puzzle game from the developers of Energy Balance. When you click each cell of the game field, it changes the color and the colors of the adjacent cells horizontally and vertically. That's what I was trying to say. Your task is to bring all the cells of the same color. Sounds pretty easy, but try to do it.
Are you daring me, PlayStation?
PS Vita. I don't have a Vita, so I can't do it.
I do.
Yeah. Next, another Vita game out 7/7.
I can't wait for you to pronounce this.
Ninja Usagi Usagimaru. That's what I said. Two Tales of the Adventure. Ninja Usagimaru, Two Tales of Adventure, is an action puzzle game combo pack of both Ninja Usagimaru games that challenges players to put their sharpened ninja skills to the test. Players assume the role of Usagimaru, a legendary hero who embarks on a massive quest to save the village from the clutches of the vile monsters.
Two Vita games so far. Cute. I like the little rabbit and everything.
It's Japanese.
It's cute. Well, obviously,
could you guess that by the name?
That's Usagimaru. Yeah.
Another ninja game. Save the Ninja Clan. PS4 digital out. It's all out 7/7. I wonder if that's because the holiday.
Probably. No one's playing games.
Doesn't matter though, because the holiday is only in America though.
No one gives a shit about video games on July 4th except for people that record in the basement at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Save the Ninja Clan is a platformer for casual players as well as speedrunners. There are two ways to play this game. Play through normal speed mode or find secrets to annoy the game manager watching.
That's super bland artwork there. That's Cavernous Waste style. Yeah. I hate that. I really do. Like, you know, if your game is a small game, if it's an indie game, it's a mini game, God bless you for making it and getting it on a store. But come on.
And trailer.
Like, do yourself a favor, you know?
Next one. This is one we're going to talk about because this shows you how weak this is. But this game was interesting. This was free on Xbox One a couple months ago.
Oh, was it?
Speedrunners PS4 digitally out 7/5. That's July 5th for those of you who don't know how to use numbers.
That was wait. Today.
That's today. You were trying to figure out the math. I was like, this is it.
Try and make it look like we're recording on the same
even
day.
though we even mentioned twice in this that we're recording on the 4th of July.
I had to take a Benadryl. I'm on an energy drink. My head's all over the place. Go ahead.
A cutthroat multiplayer running game that pits 4 players against each other locally and or online. Run, jump, swing, and use divisive weapons and pickups to knock your opponents off screen. Have you played this game? You probably have never played this game. I have this game on PC. Back when I went through a PC kick.
What is it?
You have like they have. I'm gonna call it a map. I don't know what it's to call it. It's like a. It's a landscape. Yes, it's a side-scrolling game, but you like loop. You do laps around that map.
Okay.
So it's a side-scrolling game, and the trick is not to go off the end of the screen. So you'll have everybody running, racing, and there's traps and things you can set off.
Okay.
And if you go off the end of the screen, you die. As time goes on, say you are going around, and you're on lap 4 or whatever, maybe. I don't know if it's I can't remember if it's time or if it's number-based. The screen will start shrinking, so you have to be quicker and quicker in doing it. It's actually a lot of fun. This is a perfect party game for friends. Like
4-player?
4-player. Online and or local.
That's not bad.
Which I like when it's and or.
Price?
$14.99 is what it is on Steam, so I'm guessing that's gonna be the same price. Same thing on Xbox, $14.99. So that's.
I will watch the trailer.
It's
and if it looks good, I'll pick it up and we can stream it.
It's an interesting game. I'm super excited for this, just because, like I said, I played it, and I feel like PS4 would be a good place because I played it on PC, but I'm not a PC gamer. I picked it up because some of my other friends had it.
Well, you're not a gamer at all.
No, I'm a console.
Keegan's not a gamer.
Next one.
Super game.
That's you! PS4 Digital.
You know what? This is the shittest trailer ever, but I do love the fact they had Shu in it, and he was like having a blast. But
Shuhei?
Shuhei
Yoshida?
Yeah. But I mean, it's cheesy as shit, isn't it? I mean,
set off on a journey of discovery with up to 5 of your friends and family and find out what you really think about each other. Joining the fun is easy. All you need is your phone or tablet. Snap a selfie and enjoy tons of funny questions, texting games, and drawing challenges.
I'm not mad about it. Like, as a party game, it sounds okay.
It sounds good.
But it's the first of the PlayLink releases, because PlayLink was the big thing they went into at E3, where they said, hey, we want to try and make these collaborative experiences where you have like kind of a main controller, but then everyone else has their tablets or their phones or whatever, and they can join in the game as well.
Which I really like that concept.
I like that concept too, and I think so. I'm a big. Like,
do you remember E3 like 3 years ago, where like you're going to be able to play your game on anything? Like that kind of died pretty quickly. And
I mean, no, I played PS4 on my Mac.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like Division. You're supposed to be able to like you could have a tablet and somebody play remotely, like shit like that. I love where you could go in and be able to play with friends that may not like your wife.
Right.
Say your wife's not a big gamer, maybe you don't have a second controller like some people.
Yeah.
She can then come in and play with that, with a tablet and do a party game.
Well, they do a lot of
4th of July when you have friends over.
They do a lot of karaoke games like that now, where like instead of having to have like 4 microphones or whatever, you can just use the
Bluetooth device,
the microphone in your phone and pretend you're holding it. Like SingStar did that. So it's not entirely a unique idea, but this is the first of their big push for these PlayLink games, and Hidden Agenda was the biggest one of that. But because
I feel like 2 things are happening. One, I think Nintendo with the party games with the Switch won't be as prominent as it has in the past because it's a mobile console,
right?
And people love it in mobile form. And 2, Sony being the big dog right now, like people are going to go to them.
How much was it?
I didn't say.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have price at the time.
Yeah, that's going to be important, because if they want me to pay $50 for that, it's not happening.
No, it's not going to be 50.
I'm like 15, 20.
That's what I was going to say. I'm guessing 15, 20 was
I'll
my
pick
guess,
it up.
but I don't
play
know.
It'll be fun.
The last one for this week, and the last one after last week where we had like 30. Toby, the Secret Mine. Go with Toby on an eerie adventure in a dark, creepy world full of dangerous situations, enemies, and challenging puzzles. Looks just like Limbo, and that makes me happy because Limbo was a good game.
Yeah. Aesthetically, it looks similar to Limbo, but I mean, that description is pretty fucking bare bones. Read it again.
Go with Toby on an eerie adventure in a dark, creepy world full of dangerous situations, enemies, and challenging puzzles. I feel like that's Limbo. Well, how would you describe Limbo?
Well, I would add in things like about the fact
world.
There's a spider chasing you, and the more interesting sort of.
But that's spoiler.
Of it. Well, no, you could say like, is there something in the darkness that's got hairy legs or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, there's a way to
world
do
full
it.
of dangerous situations, dangerous enemies, and challenging puzzles. Yeah. I feel like you nailed it.
I would need to see the trailer.
That's how I was with this. I was like, I guess I'll show this one off, and then it's $10 is what it'll be when it. Well, I guess
it doesn't look awful. I don't want to shit on it. It doesn't look awful. I need more than that. I need more than one sentence that says you're playing a video game.
Yeah, it looked good. I don't know if it obviously won't. I don't think it'll be as in depth as Limbo, because Limbo is one of the greatest games ever made.
One of the best indies.
But it looked good, and it was one of those. It was definitely a puzzle platforming game that I was like, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Especially once I saw the trailer.
That's fair.
Look at the trailer. We might have it behind us. We might just put the image up because it depends on how lazy I am.
You usually put the
I usually put the image up because it's
there.
easy. A little behind the scenes here.
Trailers.
I go to the page I was just on and go boop boop boop, and it's there.
I do like that because when we're talking about it, we're looking at this and we're like describing what we see and everything. But it makes a lot more sense if you can see it at the same time, thanks to our little studio TV here.
It's real weird because when you say studio TV, it's just green behind us. That's the drop for this week. That there was
Short
what is
sweet.
there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games on the drop, and then you can get Sony Music. Calvin Harris is out. Carpenter Brut is out. Stone Sour.
Dude, Carpenter Brut is amazing.
Stone Sour. That's
I know where they are.
Yeah. Fun fact about them before we move on in this PlayStation podcast. Stone Sour actually got their first album, Come Whatever May, I think is the name of it.
Come what may?
No, whatever it's called. I got that album before it came out, and it's actually my disc is a clipped version because I worked for a music company at the time, and we got pre-releases of stuff. And I had no idea who Stone Sour was, and I listened to it. I go, this sounds a lot like Slipknot. Turned out later on that it was Corey Taylor, and I was like,
Carpenter Brut makes, and this is as you know, I'm a big fan of Outrun and synthwave and that kind of stuff, retro wave stuff, which is basically just like 80s stuff done today. And Carpenter Brut makes really amazing music that sounds like it came straight from the 80s, but is very danceable and very kind of enjoyable. So yeah, I do actually in this PlayStation podcast, I would recommend that you listen to Carpenter Brut
which is on PlayStation Music.
Which is on PlayStation Music.
So you can do it now.
Ties it all.
I don't know if you have to pay for that or not. I don't know how that works. I don't listen to music on my PlayStation.
You can get a trial.
This is PlayStation based. If you want to listen to music on your PlayStation through a subscription service, Spotify is the best way to go. Just throwing that out there.
Probably the only way to go, except for PlayStation.
Yeah. So moving on to Spotlights. The Spotlights where we come in, we say, hey, you should check out this game because either we enjoy it or we think it's worth a look. My Spotlight this week is a game called Crossout. Free to play. It's kind of like Mad Max aesthetics meets Twisted Metal car combat thing.
Okay. I have it, but I never even gave it a second look. I just downloaded it because it was free.
Free. Well, I went through the other day because we did a few months ago. We went through the free-to-play games like what's here. To see what's there. Hawken, yeah. And this was one of those games. Like I went through and was like, that looks good. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me try it. Like I'm in that mode right now where I'm like I'm playing a lot of games that I've been playing for a while, and I just needed like a new palate cleanser. And I hopped in, had a lot of fun. Was really confused at first because it's a PC game built for the console, so that it has the cursor on the screen. I'm guessing because it is on PC. But it has the cursor on the screen. But they were smart, and they're like, "Hey, you can use buttons too." So like, to get to the garage, you have to move the cursor to the garage. But if you want to go to battle, you push X, and it'll just take or square or whatever the button is. It'll take you right into the battle. So that was smart. But basically, the notes I have on here is Mad Max meets Twisted Metal when it comes to aesthetics and feel.
We never did finish Mad Max, did we?
No.
I rebought it because I want to try that again.
Car combat is exciting.
Yeah.
Unique vehicles crafted by players using a wide range of available parts from nimble buggies to heavy off-road tracked vehicles. So the way this works is you start out with a pickup truck, essentially.
Okay.
And from there, as you level up, I'm only level 3, disclosure. I've played for probably maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I don't know.
Okay.
I can't really keep track of it, but I leveled up relatively quickly. And you start with the truck, and then you get upgrades as you go along. So as you win a match, and it's all PvP online. There's no single player from what I've seen, which I'm fine with because of what it is. And you can just upgrade as you get those parts to get. And I now have 3 guns. And
play socially with friends.
Yes.
Okay.
Nobody else I know has it as of right now.
Well, I have it.
Well, you didn't play it though.
That's true.
Everybody I know that's playing it is on PC. Complete freedom and creativity of thousands of possible combinations. Create vehicles of any shape using dozens of parts, wide variety of armor and weapons, as well as support systems. Advanced damage model: destroy any part of an enemy vehicle, and it will affect the machine's performance immediately. Cool thing about this, and this is where I think they put a lot of time, and this is I think what kind of blew me away, is when you're going. How many times do you play a game where you're shooting something and it kind of explodes when it's dead?
A lot.
A lot. So this game, if you're shooting I've learned to target people's tires.
Right.
Because if the tires fall off, the tire will fall off.
Right.
So things like that, the pieces, or you target their gun, knock their gun off. Like there's strategy to how you attack vehicles. I mean, a lot of times it's just all of us coming in going, and they don't have a reload. It's overheat mechanic, so you got to be careful with that.
Okay.
Which I like, but the damage model that they use is really good, and I think that's kind of what drew me into this game was the fact that like when I shot somebody's tower, that's the part that would fall off. And eventually, like if you shot the engine compartment, you would explode quicker. And that's where crafting your vehicle and putting armor, like I have extra protection right now on the front and sides of my car because you're most vulnerable in the engine.
Attack him from the back, people. Attack him from the back.
You don't want to do that because I've got some stuff back there that you don't want to mess with.
So wait, explain the actual gameplay to me. So far I've heard it's a car combat game.
The way it works...
So is it open world? Is it
no?
What's the situation?
It's maps. So picture like Call of Duty with cars online, like multiplayer, where you have maps. And from what I've seen, there's only 2 modes so far. I don't know if they're... It's early access on PC. They can't say early access on PS4, but it's early access. They're updating it frequently. And from what I've seen, there's about 3 or 4 different maps, 2 game modes. And the game modes are, the first one is kind of just kill the other team, deathmatch. First team to kill everybody wins. The second mode is capture the flag. Usually how that works out, though, is you kill everybody and just go capture their point, which is their spawn point. So it's a lot of fun. There is a lot of strategy involved when it comes to coordinating people, because I've learned that you want to stay with the pack a lot of the times, especially as you get higher level and people have more intensive things on their vehicles. It's better to have backup behind you. If you
Do you know how far the leveling system goes?
I don't.
What are you at right now?
3, 4, 3.5.
So it could go all the way to 100. It could be at 30. Or whatever.
And the way it works is like, I believe when you start it, you can have 15 pieces on your car, and that includes paneling, all that kind of stuff. Level 3 to unlock 25, so I'm going to guess it's going to be 35 at 6 or whatever, 5 or whatever the next level is that it goes up to. But you also have different rarities of items and all this kind of stuff. So right now I've got, you start with 2 guns on your truck. I got a 3rd gun, and then I got a better gun. So what was really cool is I had my truck set up, and then it got to the point where I had too many things to fit on it. Like they physically could not fit on the truck.
Gotcha.
So what I ended up doing is I completely destroyed the truck, and I made my own thing.
Okay.
And all the pieces that you have, you can use. So the truck was a 2-axle, and it had spacing in between for the wheelbase. I actually ended up making a 6-axle vehicle because more mobility. Problem with that right now, though, is because my tires are shit. I've got 1 upgraded tire, and all the rest are normal. It throws it off a little bit.
So you tried to make a little caterpillar?
Yeah, that's essentially what I want to do is make something like that. But what I ended up doing is I put a gun on the roof, so that way I have it facing backwards. So again, shoot behind me, or come behind me, you're gonna die. Go in front of me, you're gonna die.
So do you drive and shoot at the same time?
Yeah.
How can you drive forward and shoot
R2
backwards?
is shoot, L1 is fire, or R2 is drive, L1 is shoot.
So where do you look? Like what camera are you looking at when you're shooting behind you?
Yeah, right stick.
So
you'll just keep moving the direction your car's facing.
So you can't see what's in front of you if you're shooting behind you.
Correct.
Okay.
So the camera is separate from the steering.
Okay.
Which is sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Yeah.
It's good in the sense that I can rotate around and shoot things behind me, but it's bad if I'm like, oh, I'm running into a wall right now.
Right.
I always forget to hit the brakes if I turn my camera around.
Does like doing that cause damage to your vehicle as well? Like
hitting stuff,
environmental
yes.
damage?
Yep. Hitting stuff, falling off cliffs.
So it's a risky move.
It's really well done. Yeah, it's really well done though with the damage. One of the things I really liked is I now have a ram on the front of my truck. So when I go in, if I usually do the finishing blow with this. So if you go in and if you explode a vehicle next to you, all the sound stops and it goes whoop, like the air's been taken out, and it goes
like an implosion.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like at first I was like, did my audio just cut out? But it's part of the game, and the ramming people is so satisfying to get like that last death blow. You're like, fuck you, especially if they've been shooting you. But I free to play game, I recommend it. They have an open market where you can sell and trade and buy stuff with other people.
Is it free to play or is it freemium?
It's free to play. There are microtransactions involved to get more scrap, to get more materials, or you can buy stuff from the player-based market.
Any idea what the pricing is on those parts that you're buying?
It was relatively inexpensive. I think 100 was like 99 cents or something. Okay. So, but to give you an idea, I get 15 to 25 over the weekend. I was getting more.
So you can play it without those, but you will get further, better, quicker if you.
And so far, what I've seen is they do it based on your level.
Okay.
So the only concern I have there is if somebody drops $50 to get a bunch of scrap, but the scrap doesn't always necessarily turn into what you need it to. That's the other thing. When you refine it, you don't know what you're getting. So I think that's kind of how they try to balance it a little bit. But if somebody's level 2 and they buy $50 worth of scrap, they're obviously going to have a better vehicle than I am as somebody who's just going to play the game.
Right.
But from my experience so far, that's not been an issue. But also the game has just come out. So we'll see as time goes on. The other issue I have, and I was talking to you this before we started recording, is the leveling right now is pretty quick. Every 2 to 4 matches right now I'm leveling up. How long will that take as I go further in the game? Like, will it become a grind, and will I want to buy stuff?
Well, I think with most games like that, they let you level up quickly at the beginning because it gives you that sense of instant sort of gratification, instant victory, and then because it is free to play at some point, it is going to feel like a sincere grind to get like really high level. But then you've put so much time and effort invested into that game at that point that you
it's like right now with Elder Scrolls. I'm grinding to finish crafting writs, and there are multiple days. Like, I'm waiting for something to be researched for 21 days to finish a crafting writ. And that's fine because I put so much time in that game that I'm like, this is cool. This is just part of the game.
Yeah.
So as long as it doesn't hit like level 20 and like all of a sudden just stop, I think I'll be fine with it.
Okay.
If it does all of a sudden just stop and I feel like I have to pay to progress, then I'll have more of an issue. But again, the leveling separate from the upgrades, other than what you can put on your vehicle, is nice, and they tend to matchmake you with people of your similar level. The highest one I was with yesterday, and again, I think being low level kind of has got a broader thing going on. So when I was level 2, the highest person I played with was a level 7. So
that's awesome.
But we destroyed him, so we won.
So it's,
dude, I've won 15 out of the 16 matches I've done. So if you want to be good at crossout,
is it? Do you think fans of things like Forza would enjoy it due to the customization level of it, or do you think it's more for just like online combat guys, like Twisted Metal guys?
It's online combat. Okay. Like, that's the heart of it.
It's not super realistic.
The garage is cool. It's not very well done when it comes to the keyboard or to the controller, because it's definitely made for keyboard and mouse. But once you get the hang of it and you kind of learn its quirks, like prime example, I couldn't figure out where the hell my storage was. Like, where are the parts that I got? Where are they at to put on my vehicle? Cool. And then it doesn't really tell you what attaches to what. You kind of got to just figure it out, which is good and bad because anything can attach to anything to a certain extent. So, like, one of the things I have right now is I have a truss that hangs out the side of my vehicle. I don't know if I get a platform at some point that I can then put a gun on top of that, but I can't put the gun directly on that truss because it's too small.
Gotcha.
So things like that are going on that I'm like...
So there's some puzzle elements to it as well, almost.
Yeah, which I don't know if I'd like. That's the part I don't like about the game, is it didn't tell me how to create it, and I kind of had to spend 30 minutes inside of the
tutorial
editor.
Could be better.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really read it.
Okay.
Like, but it was like, because to me a text tutorial doesn't... I don't ever read text tutorials. Give me this is how you do this. Like, when I got the wheels, how the fuck do I connect a wheel? You think you just stick it there and it would be fine, but you have to stick it to the axle and make sure it's lined up correctly, otherwise it's going to be all cattywampus.
That does sound like an interesting interesting level of minutia.
It's very in depth, and it's really cool. As somebody who likes building shit, like, that's a cool part, but it is kind of, it reminds me a little bit of Fallout 4 when it came to crafting, where it's good.
It's a little janky.
But there's little quirks you got to deal with.
Janky.
So
that's the word of the day lately on our podcast. Janky.
Cattywampus also.
Cattywampus is a good one.
That's a good one.
That can reach the echelon of janky.
Yeah.
Is it janky or is it cattywampus?
On a level of jank to cattywampus.
We'll define what those two things mean at some point in the future. Yeah. Keep watching.
So what's your spotlight?
So I did not play an indie game because most of the time for spotlights I pick an indie game and I play it and I give impressions and record the footage
for the two we've done.
For the two that we've done. Well, we did a couple before.
That's
for
true.
Our other shows.
That's true.
But for this one, I decided this is a game that I've put easily 50 or 60 hours into. I'm still playing it. I still play it every time I sit down in front of my PlayStation. And this is the game that I put every other game on hold for. And that is Persona 5. And so Persona 5, to me, is such an enjoyable game that so many people just don't fully comprehend because of how Japanese it is, and that's a barrier for a lot of people, especially people like you that just like are not
I would ignore
fans.
it,
right?
Just because I'm like, I don't like Japanese. Not that I don't like Japanese. I don't like Japanese-based games usually because that's not my taste.
Yeah, and that's
I prefer
fine.
Western
You
style.
don't have to be a fan, but here's why I think you should at least give it like a thought.
Let's just say my notes, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullet points about this big. Tom has a page of notes.
Well, that's because I actually put in like story stuff as well, because you have to try and explain the story. But
yeah, mine was just you shoot shit and it explodes and you build stuff.
Yeah. So here's the thing: Persona 5 is one of the most in-depth sort of, and I don't like calling it an RPG because it's not. It's a weird hybrid of several. It's like an RPG crossed with almost like one of those
RPG light
real life simulator things that the Japanese love. No, not even RPG light, because there's some heavy RPG stuff in there, but it's just like it's so
I'm
combined
fucked.
with everything else.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't. There's no explanation. It's just Persona. So so here you go. Well. I'll go through kind of some of the information. So Persona actually is sort of a side game, or started as a side game from a very popular Japanese series called Shin Megami Tensei.
Shin Megami. I know that from Death Note.
That's Shinigami, which is slightly different, but yes, that is a death god. Shin Megami Tensei.
I forgot the space. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. And actually, this is the 6th installment of a Persona game, but obviously it's still Persona 5 in name. So Persona 5 takes place in Tokyo, and it follows the player-named protagonist. I say that because it's one of those games where they let you name your protagonist. And I think there's a default name, but
you name him
I don't
Dinklebutt?
remember it. My guy is called Tommy Kilo.
Of course he is.
Because I'm boring, and I always choose that.
Murmog, Tommy, you just need to get better at naming.
I really do.
Your names are shitty, no offense.
So boring. No, it's fine. I'll take that.
Give you an idea, my first Elder Scrolls player, before I even knew I was going to get Elder Scrolls, Zephyriah Jorgensen, because he was a Nord.
Zephyriah Jorgensen was great. That
yes.
was good. I don't know. I just...
I've Grant Tubness now, too.
I like a small part of it to remind me of me, because a lot of this type of game, you have to make a lot of decisions, and those decisions I tend to base off what I would actually do.
You role-play as yourself versus role-playing as a character.
Correct.
Okay.
So why don't
you say Tom Miles then?
Because I like him to have a little bit of a cooler name. I think Tommy Kilo is more of a I can distance myself enough from myself if I give him kind of a nickname version of me, as opposed to giving him my actual name. Does that make sense?
It does.
I used to do that. I used to call them just my name, but this to me is like he's kind of like an alter ego as opposed to like me.
But you said it's based on your decisions, so it is you.
Well, yeah, but it's an alter ego version of me. A cooler version of me.
But then why don't you just name it something else?
I don't know. Shut up. So after his transfer to the fictional Shujin Academy, he was put on probation for an assault, which he was falsely accused of. Basically, he stopped a girl getting raped, and he kicked this guy's ass, and he went to jail for it. And now everyone hates him because he went to jail, but they don't know that's because he stopped this girl getting raped. During the course of the school year, he and other students awaken to their persona powers, become masked vigilantes dubbed the Phantom Thief of Hearts, and explore the supernatural metaverse realm to steal ill intent from the hearts of adults. As with previous titles in the series, the party does battle with supernatural enemies using manifestations of their psyche called personas. The game incorporates role-playing elements and dungeon exploration alongside social simulation scenarios. So that's why I can't give you a fucking exact genre for this game, because it is literally a mixture of a bunch of stuff. So let me break this down for you. And this is for people that know nothing of Persona. The people that play Persona know exactly what I'm talking about. But this is such a good game that so many people will ignore because it's simply too Japanese. And I use that term loosely because I don't think there's anything that's too Japanese. But I know a lot of people that do. There you go. So basically, when it says social simulation scenario, which is awesome alliteration, by the way, you are going through 1 year of school. You have to actually go to class. One of the first things you do in the game is you have to go and find how to get to class. So you're just traveling on the tube and the metro or whatever, and you're trying to. It doesn't tell you where to go. It's just is this train the right one? I don't know. I'm gonna get on this train and see where it goes. And so when you eventually end up there,
It's like we get dropped in a new city. Like, I don't
You
fucking
go all
know
over
this
the
system.
fucking place, yeah. So you can overhear conversations that other students are having. A lot of them are usually about you and sort of in a negative manner because you are the juvenile delinquent. And like in some instances, the teachers will like on some days, the teachers will ask you a question and you have to answer that question. And I cheat. I'm a complete fucking cheater. I go to Google to get all the answers. Here's the thing: the questions are hard as fuck. Like there's no way that I would know the answers.
You say that, says the guy. Go watch your trivia playthrough, and you'll see how good Tom is with questions.
Yeah,
if
I'm
I
sure.
played it, I'd get them all right.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't. But you know what?
Like, what's an example of a question?
What's an example of one?
Yeah, do you have a question on, that you're like, hey?
Because
I
don't have one off the top of my head.
I'm full of
now,
random
but-
facts. You should know this.
No, but it's like this is like they're Japanese-based questions. A lot of them. It's like, tell me, like, what is the one group of individuals that were exempt from the 1565 resolution made by the Emperor dynasty of Shinkiao?
The Ming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And
Ja-
you're just like,
you
and then it's like,
understand-
fishermen of Nicaragua, or and you're just
You
like, oh,
you
like,
understand I'm a history buff, though.
Yeah, you would. You do all right. You do all right. Not all of them are impossible. Some of them are okay, but a lot of them are like, if this means this and this means this, then what does this mean? And it's very bizarre. But so I
I
cheat.
love that kind of stuff. Like, that's how my brain works.
Maybe you'd like this game then. See what I'm saying?
It's
I'm not.
fucking-
I've just told you one part of it. There's so much
Yeah,
more.
but I like that concept. I don't like the
So-
rest of the...
Well, there's more. So,
But wait, there's more.
So you have basically several locations. So Shujin Academy is just one. You have your hometown, which is where you have a cafe called Cafe LeBlanc, which is where you sleep and live, and you're basically under the tutelage of this kind of master barista guy, and he teaches you occasionally how to make coffee, how to make curry, but stuff like this. Okay, so if it's Sunday and you watch the TV on Sundays, there is a home shopping network, and it's only on Sundays. And if you go in there on a Sunday and watch the TV, they'll be like, oh, we have a special bonus offer where you can get 20 whatever if you order now. And so you can order and get like a big booster pack of stuff. And you have to wait like a couple days and it arrives in the mail and then you get it. And it's just like, there's so much like minutia to it. So your time is divided throughout the day. You wake up in the morning.
Sounds like a lot like Animal Crossing? Animal Crossing.
I've not played it, but
It sounds very similar to
Right.
that. Just
so
Japanese and not
your day is
cartoon
divided
characters.
basically between like waking up in the morning, going to school, after school, evening, sometimes lunchtime as well as in there, and it just kind of depending on the day you have to do different stuff, but you get to choose what you want to do with each portion of your time. But when you decide, that portion of the day is over. So okay, so it's after school and I can check my phone and I'll get text messages from, let's say, 3 of my friends, and one of them wants to go to a bar, one of them wants to go and work out, one of them wants to just talk, and you
How
can
dare they just talk.
and then you can be like, all right, I'm gonna hang out with this guy today, and then when you hang out you build this relationship with that person, and as you build the relationship with that person you strengthen your bond.
Can you romance people?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because this sounds like a game that you should be able to romance somebody in there.
Kind of elements where you're like, can I? Like,
'cause it sounds
I'm not
like-
sure how far this could go. I haven't managed to yet. I haven't really tried, to be honest. But yeah, you're building up your bond, and what happens with that is that your persona, which is basically like if you're used to Final Fantasy, think of it as a summon. It's basically like an inner monster that you can use to fight in battles with. Your persona can grow stronger by you gaining relationships with people, and also you get special powers. So let's say you're my friend in the game and I want to try and capture a monster. You have to talk them into joining you, right? So you beat them up, you knock them down, then you have an option. You either ask them to join you, you ask them for money, or you ask them for an item. Let's say I say, I want you to join me. And then they'll start asking you random shit. They'll just be like, oh, you think I'm going to join you? You're just a baby. How are you even out this late at night? And then you can choose from like 4 responses. And if you choose
fuck
like
you.
a cocky one, then they might kick back into the
And this-
battle and try and fight you again. Or they
So,
might,
are
give
the
you an
answers?
item.
You say there might be a cocky one. Are the answers very well telegraphed of kind of what the
No,
reaction
not
is
at
going to be
all.
to them? Okay, so it's
Not
not
at
one of those
all.
games like Fallout where
And
it's
they-
like I'm going to do this and I
it's
know
not
how
even
this is
like
going to
the same
happen.
ones would work on the same monsters. Like they change them up. They ask this different questions. The answers are different sometimes. It is literally a
don't-
guessing game.
But you don't know how that answer is going to affect the person, correct? That's what I'm asking.
no, you have no idea.
Because like in Fallout, one of the issues I had with Fallout 4 was the fact that like I knew exactly what I was gonna.
There's
was gonna
no
happen when I answered.
telegraphing at all.
Okay.
So it's a luck of the draw as to whether you get the right answer. But let's say you fail, right? but we built up a strong bond before I went into battle, then one of the things that we might have gained from our bond is that you have the ability to jump in at a failed conversation and then like convince the monster to retry because we built our bond up. So this is like a small example of something that, like, by making these, they call them social links. By making these social links, you become more powerful. You have more options available. Your persona gets more powerful, and you collect these monsters. And basically, like, you can smash them together to make more powerful monsters. But you have to be a strong enough level to control the monster. So you can make level 42 persona if you are level 42. You can make a level 50 persona if you're 42, but you will not be able to use it because it's too powerful. So it's kind of, but if you go underpowered, then you don't get all the goodies, and then you can like.
It's like Pokemon. Like when the Pokemon are too high level, they don't listen to you.
There's absolutely a Pokemon element to it, and you can bring across like characteristics from the old personas. You can be like, okay, I'm going to smash these two together and make a new one. I want to pull this from that one, this from that one, this from that one, and those are the ones. And then you just kind of hone the persona, and you're the only one that can do that. By the way, all your other friends just have like a set persona, but you're the only one that can just pull any persona you'd like and pull in aspects from other things. So you have this kind of like these day-to-day scenarios in which you're doing just whatever you want to. You can be anything. But then they factor in things alongside the social links with things like you can get a job. So you want to earn some money, I'm going to get a job at a cafe. And then one of my evenings can be taken up just going to earn some money at a cafe. You can go and eat food, and you can take the Big Burger Challenge, and it'll be like, you need better guts and proficiency to pass this challenge. So you work on the guts and proficiency. Once you get them high enough, you can eat them, win the Big Burger Challenge, and you'll get something. And so there's all these miniature games that you're playing throughout the entire thing. And that is not even getting started on the actual game. All the footage that you're seeing behind us is from me inside of a palace. The basic idea behind that is that's a dungeon, basically, that is manifested from a corrupt adult. A corrupt adult that is doing something shitty to someone or several people. And your job as a phantom thief is to go into their corrupt palace and to find their treasure. Their treasure is not a physical item. It is just like a floating orb, right? So once you get far enough, you've made this path, you've forged this path all the way through the dungeon, you save at various points, all the way to the treasure. Then you have to go back to the real world and give that person a calling card. Once they know the phantom thieves are after their treasure, something in their head changes that treasure into a physical item. So then you go back through your infiltration route, grab the treasure, and you're done.
I was good at the first part, and now you... that's where I'm like, I don't care.
So that's
anymore.
what I mean. Like, but it's kind of the social stuff mixed with the dungeon stuff, mixed with the RPG stuff, with like the Pokemon stuff. But so you have to balance friendships, courtships, classes, studying, because you take tests. Like, you know, you're doing those questions. Eventually, they'll give you an exam, and you have to pass the exam. You have charm, kindness, proficiency. You have to build strength. You can get jobs. You can shop for goods. Like, you can buy a TV and then buy the parts to fix the TV. Buy a video game console. Because one of your friends might call you up one night and say, hey, do you want to play video games tomorrow? And you say, sure. They come over and they're like, you don't have a console, dummy. So you have to go and buy a console and all this kind of stuff. But there's so much of this stuff, and even something like the weather. So you wake up one day and the weather is rainy. So that means that when you go to a palace or mementos, which is kind of like the general public's palace, you can go into at any time, that the monsters will be drowsy because it's rainy and they don't like the rain. So they're easier to like ambush. If you go to a cafe when it's rainy, you'll get twice as many knowledge points because it's rainy and you can concentrate better for some reason. So like even like utilizing, okay, today it's a high pollen count can affect something else. So every single decision you make is super important and can be amplified depending on where you are, what you need, what the weather's like, and all this kind of stuff, and it's all amplified together. It's convoluted. It's very convoluted. Don't let me convince you that it's an easy game to understand. It's not at all. But once you just kind of let go and get into the swing of things, it is genuinely an enjoyable experience. It's a long experience. Like I said, I'm 50 or 60 hours in, and I'm not even close to the end. It's about a 100-hour game, which at least means you're getting your money's worth, right?
If you enjoy it.
If you enjoy it, exactly. And I happen to enjoy it. But it's almost just like watching a really good anime play out in real time that you get to control. And a lot of the cutscenes are actually like fully drawn, fully animated, like anime. It's super stylistic. So like they have just gorgeous color palettes. Like whenever you finish a battle, like your guy's running and you press X and it kind of shoots forward and it shows you something else, and it shoots forward and shows you something else. You'll see that from the video footage here. But super stylistic, and the soundtrack is all like jazz, funk, and soul, and it's so stylistic. But it's one of those games that is so easy to ignore. But if you, it's a completely separate experience to Persona 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever. You don't have to have played the originals to get it. There are certain elements that you may be like a little kind of like, what the fuck? But once you get around that, it's such an enjoyable game. It's so worth your time and your money. And I recommend it to everyone.
I couldn't tell.
Do you have any questions about it? Because I feel like you might have questions.
No, I mean we've talked about it enough that I'm like
because David bought it recently and he fucking loves it and he had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, the problem again, it's makes me sound real bad, but this is the Japanese side of things where I'm like I know I won't like that. And like I said, I was good with the life simulation shit, all that kind of stuff, until
you can spend the
dungeons.
majority of your time doing that stuff. But the palace stuff, it makes sense in context of the game. Like me trying to explain to you what a fucking metaverse is, like sat down in this conversation, does not make sense. Me saying, oh, you're stealing the corrupted heart of the adult, that's what you're doing, does not make sense. When you're in the game, it's just an excuse to go fight for a while. And the fighting is turn-based. It's old school Final Fantasy turn-based. It's like, okay, you can heal, you can choose your monster, you can attack normally, you can use an item, you can flee, you know, and your goal is just to beat the enemy down and then choose if you want to take the enemy and use them for a persona, if you want to take their money and use that to buy stuff, or take an item which will help you later down the line. But those palaces are an excuse to actually just have some action for a while. And usually the social simulator stuff, as fun as it is the filler between the actual set pieces, which are the palaces. But you could spend hours just doing that stuff without going near a palace. Eventually, like, the palaces are time-bound. Mm-hmm. But you can knock a palace out in 3 days, or even 1 day in some instances. But they do get progressively harder as it goes on. There's like a stealth mechanic too, like if the enemies start spotting you, then they can spot you easier because they're on high alert. But every time you do defeat an enemy cleanly, then your alert goes down a little bit. And but yeah, it's a really, really good time.
This sounds like it. I just, again, I'm trying not to be like, oh, as you know, I follow Kind of Funny as well, and Greg Miller's like, I love this game. And usually when Greg Miller says I love this game, I'm like, I should check it out. I can't get into it. Just for whatever reason, it's one of those things where I'm just like, there's no reason for me to buy the game because
I wish I had a hard copy to give to you, because I think that if you just tried it, you would be kind of mad for the first like 30 minutes, because the first 30 minutes are kind of a clusterfuck and you're just like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? But once you get in a rhythm of things and you start kind of building up your strength and stuff, then it becomes a whole other beast.
We'll see.
All right, so what you got? What's your last part?
So the question of the week, as we end with everything, we got a question about Sony. And as you know, we just had E3 2017 in June.
Sure did.
In December, I think 7th through 10th, I could be wrong on those dates. December sometime, we have PSX coming up.
Yeah.
So the question of this week is two-part. There's only one in here, but there's two parts to it.
Okay.
What do you want to see at PSX? What do you think we will see at PSX? Because those could be two different categories. So I'll let you start off. Let's start off with what do you want to see? What would be a Tom hit list of like perfect?
Well,
PSX?
I think you know what I want to see. We've talked about it or argued about it enough, and that is more VR. I think the PSX it's your home base. You don't have to compete against the other industry types. It's a time to celebrate, and it was designed as a conference to celebrate PlayStation, to celebrate the uniqueness of it. So, two things: I want to see more VR announcements, a lot more, even if it's just another 4 or 5, but just like stuff that we can all be like, oh yeah, and maybe one or two big ones. Honestly, though, Move 2.0. That's the big one.
Anything outside of VR you want though?
I mean, yeah, like I said, like more AAAs and stuff like that. But I think now is the time for Move 2.0. I think if they were to announce that at PSX and say, hey, by the way, we know that you guys kind of hate the controllers for the PSVR for double gun games or for grabbing and stuff. We've been working on it. Here's what we have. It's fucking awesome. Then that would be a showstopper for me, because I know that that is the one thing that is really, really, really holding back PSVR at this point. Outside of VR, sure, let's have a new Aliens game or something, but VR primarily is what I want to see. Move 2.0, I want to see. Definitely an Aliens VR game would be like my dream of what we're going to see. That would be kind of what I'm looking for, because like you said, I don't think necessarily that E3 was lackluster for VR, but I think that they're holding back for PSX. The last PSX that we had last year, they topped off the entire thing with The Last of Us 2. So they are not afraid to hold back the biggies for PSX. As for what we're going to see, as opposed to what I want to see, I do expect them to mention VR a little bit. I probably don't think they're going to go anywhere near as far in depth as I want them to. I don't know if Move 2.0 will be there. Honestly, it's really tough. I think we might, if we're lucky, get to see a little bit more development in The Last of Us 2. Since it was announced last year, they've had a whole year to work on it. I would expect to maybe get some gameplay of it, even if it's just it
would be an isolated thing, but I think it might be too early. I think we'll get a cinematic trailer. Like a true trailer, not just a teaser of her playing the guitar.
Maybe a cinematic trailer, or maybe like a little chunk of gameplay like they did at E3 when they announced the original one. It was like it was a set piece. It actually ended up being in the game, but it was a set piece of a little bit there. But I think we're going to see a little bit more on that.
Do you think Death Stranding's going to be at PSX? Because since it wasn't at E3?
Maybe. Again, it's
that's one of those games I feel like they just need to shut up and make the game.
Yeah,
we've seen it too much.
I would love to see more from that game. It's so like hyped at this point. I love all the trailers they've released so far. I love the music choices. I love Hideo, but I would like to see a little bit more. So potentially we might see some Death Stranding too, but I wouldn't bet the house on it. But I do think we'll see some significant update to The Last of Us 2. What about you?
So what I want to see, like you, I want to see VR. If you guys haven't watched our Codename Morpheus episode 1, go watch me yell at Tom about why he was wrong about E3 and Sony doing all they can.
Apparently you like it when we argue. I don't know why, you sadistic fucks.
I want more. I want AAA games. I feel like we're not done AAA, and I want Sony AAA games in VR. Okay. That's what I want from VR, and Move 2.0. I've been saying, like you just said, Move 2.0 is the one thing that I think would take VR from like this is cool to this is done right. Yeah. Like this is
the only hardware element holding us back right now, apart from like cables.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm cool with cables. I'm cool with cables. I can deal with
cables. I cannot deal.
I'm cool with the not so high resolution of the display, because I mean it's high resolution, but it's definitely not the same as a 4K TV or a 1080p TV. But I'm cool with that, because I get lost in, like when I play Star Trek, I got lost in Star Trek.
Gameplay overrides everything.
Yes,
always.
But you need to make the gameplay good by Move 2.0, and with Move 2.0, outside of joysticks, better tracking. We need better tracking,
and potentially some kind of maybe a glove type situation where you can actually control individual elements of the player's hands. So with Move, you know, the trigger is basically like literally like
squeeze.
Like these are your Move controllers, and then this is your trigger. That's all that you get. But as we'll talk about in Codename Morpheus 2 tomorrow,
episode 2,
Revenge of the Morpheus. They recently announced a new Steam controller.
It's actually the Clone Wars.
Sorry, a new Steam controller that does actually track individual fingers, and we'll get into that tomorrow. But yeah, something like that. Like a lot of people are just like, just slap analog sticks on it.
Let's take it a step further. I think slapping analog sticks is like a necessary. That's a necessary thing.
I would be fine with that.
I think they still so. Again, I've been playing a lot more Star Trek because I'm enjoying the shit out of that game, and I'm probably going to platinum it. There is moments where, like, we were playing the other night, me, David, and a couple other randoms, and I was captain. We're like, okay, get ready to warp. And then the helmsman, who says go, essentially, there's a lever he's got to push up. And the guy couldn't hit it. And I was like, I've been there. I know, like, the tracking, like, that sucks. Because you're like, your hand's here, you grab it, and it's like, I can't push it. It just, your move lets go of it. And that shouldn't be a thing.
No.
That should not be a thing in a video game that causes me issues like that, because we sat there for a good probably 2.5 minutes waiting for him to just we're like rotate, because if you rotate the move it's a little bit easier, but your body tells you to push it.
Yeah.
So shit like that. I don't know how they would fix the tracking based on, because I don't know the sensors in the camera. Would you have to have come out with a new camera? That kind of thing.
Moves are really old. Like they're PlayStation 3 technology. So there has to be something.
But does the PSVR use the same tracking as the Move? So then you have the receiver on the camera. What's in
tracking for the aim is near spotless.
But what's in the camera that tracks like? I have a feeling that if you got Move 2.0 or something, you might have to have a different camera or something.
Maybe they just put more lights on it or something.
Put a lot of lights on it.
Yeah.
If you liked the, you should put a light on it. But no, I want to see VR. I want to see AAA. I want to see Sony backing VR from their own studios to a big extent. Not these smaller. The bite-sized ones are fine. I want a bomb drop of some sort.
Or maybe just some actual gameplay of some of the trailers they showed off from E3. Like, let's see what the Inpatient plays like, or let's see what Moss plays like.
Oh, they have gameplay of Moss.
Yeah, but like I want to see it more in depth with an actual with a developer talking about like some of the secret parts that no one else gets to see.
But that doesn't matter to me. That doesn't matter.
I'd be happy with
You know why that doesn't matter? Because that's still an indie game.
Okay.
I want a bomb drop that was Skyrim. I want a bomb drop that is.
What do you want?
Uncharted.
Give me
Uncharted
an
VR. I want.
You keep asking for AAA, but I haven't heard a name yet.
So what I said in the codename Morpheus is I want Uncharted. I want Tomb Raider.
How do you make Uncharted in VR?
How do you make Uncharted in VR?
Yeah.
You make it.
What does it look like?
So I look at it more as a
first-person Uncharted
exploration game than I do anything else.
Okay.
I've not played all the Uncharted games. I made it through half of 1 and half of 2, but I picture it more as an exploration game, and that's where I think the Move 2.0 would come in to make that experience better. It's like you're climbing on and around stuff.
So you would want to do it FPS, not like Theseus, for example, where you're actually third person and staring.
Correct. I'd want Uncharted first person because the vistas in that game would be fantastic. Think about it. I'm thinking of Uncharted 1. There's one scene where you pull out and you're on the I don't know what they are, like pillars that are falling down the waterfall. That in first person would be a lot of fun and be terrifying because you're like, okay, shit. Like you can see the floor shaking. You're like, this is gonna fall. I got to jump. Where do I got to go next? And to me, that would be great for Uncharted because Uncharted is where do I got to go next? And being first person, you're like, let me look and see where I got to jump to.
Okay.
Something like that. And I say that it's torn because I know you won't have a full Uncharted game in VR. That's not going to happen. That's not an expectation. But I want them to put Uncharted in VR to an experience that I think is AAA worthy.
At least a couple hours, at least 4 to 6 hours.
Yes. Yeah. Like Batman, I love Batman. The problem with Batman was, in my opinion, was a little too short. If that was 4 to 6 hours, I think that's an excellent game. I think they stopped right where they should have kept going. So things like that I want to see. Obviously, I would love to see a Spider-Man game in VR. Like they have that
better than
that Homecoming demo, which is shit. But
I've not played it yet.
You're not missing anything.
Me
and David are both like. Pfft.
We'll discuss it tomorrow.
But I want to get a true Spider-Man game because the Spider-Man Insomniac game has me super hyped for Spider-Man again. Spider-Man is my superhero that I grew up with that I absolutely love. And to me, he fits perfectly in VR. You know why? Locomotion. You're swinging 9 times out of 10. You can walk, obviously, and climb. I don't know how they do the climbing on walls. That would be a bit tricky to do in VR. Like, do you do one of these? Like,
similar to your Uncharted thing, I would think. Just maybe like
Uncharted's
trigger to stick to the wall. And,
yeah, but I'm saying, Uncharted, you've got gravity, so you're hanging.
Right.
Spider-Man can go sideways.
That's true.
See what I'm saying? So I don't know how you would handle
That's
that.
That's where the Move 2.0s come in.
Yeah, I don't know how you would handle that, but like, I want to see a superhero game, AAA. I want to see things like that. I think Bravo Team, of all the VR games outside of Skyrim that were announced, Bravo Team probably has the most excited because it is the most looking like a AAA experience. So things like that when it comes to it. I just want Sony to be like, we are backing this with our own studios because I still am under the belief that third parties are not going to hop on board unless Sony's paying them because the fan install base is not as big as if you made a normal game for all the other consoles. And how do you get that bigger? You make your games on it. How do you sell a PS4? You put your games on it. So that's what I want to see from VR. Outside of that, I would love to see more of Last of Us 2. And I think we will see more of Last of Us 2 because they showed it last year. I think it's going to be a cinematic trailer. I don't think it's going to be gameplay just because when they announced it, like, it's way far off. If it's gameplay, that would be like the hype level.
I think 2019 is a good time frame for a release for that. Early 2019 or late 2018.
I don't think it'll be late 20. There's no way it's late 2018. I mean, we'll see, but I don't, based on how they said it, unless they're lying to us, which they do all the time. But I want to see Last of Us 2. Obviously, I would love to see more Spider-Man because Spider-Man is king. That gameplay they showed us there was amazing. I want to see more of Spider-Man, not in a scene like that. Not a set piece. Yeah, I want to see. Give me like show me the open world. Yeah. Show me what
else can I do?
Not a set piece looks like.
Yeah.
Because the big complaint from E3 was it looked like a lot of QuickTime events, and from people who've played behind closed doors that I've talked to said it's not that. Like those are there, but that's not it.
That's
it's
just
more
because
like
you were fighting like a boss.
Well, no, even that they said those are all optional a lot of the times. Like the QuickTime events, like when he's jumping on the things, that's the QuickTime events. But all the other stuff is like when you're fighting the dudes, there's a prompt at the bottom right that tells you what they recommend you should do, but you can do whatever you want. So show me that, and that to me would be a good thing. Indies, I think PSX is a good place to, because
they usually have an indie segment.
They didn't talk about indies at E3, so I think PSX is a good place to do it.
PSX is a big place for indies. They usually have at least a half an hour like section where they just highlight like 10 or something like that. So that would be nice. But let's maybe see some ports too. Let's see something that we know is doing well on other platforms that is coming to PS4 and we didn't know it was coming. You know what I mean?
Like what?
I don't know, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, something like that.
That's probably coming. I mean, that's almost guaranteed, based on what I've been hearing. The other thing, Supermassive, outside of Impatient, I want to see. I can't remember the name of it is for their non-VR game. It involves the investigation.
Hidden Agenda.
Yeah, Hidden Agenda. I want to see more of that game. Yeah. That game looked really good, and I was like, because I'd loved Until Dawn. I didn't like the scary part of Until Dawn. So give me a game like that may have scary elements to it when you make decisions. Like I might have to choose.
It's not jump scary.
Yes. Yeah. So I love that concept for that game. So I'm excited to see more of that. Honestly, I just want to see. I want to see more of what we've got going on in 2018 and beyond. But I think the big thing is I want to see the games that are going to come out early next year. I want to see gameplay of everything. Spider-Man we saw.
Let's see more of the games that we know as soon.
Days Gone.
Yeah. But
God of War.
I don't want them to necessarily repeat what they did at E3, though. I want it to be more different, like to stand out a little bit more. I mean, if they're going to show stuff, then that's fine, but I don't necessarily want them to dedicate too much time to games we've already seen. I'd like to see them spend a lot more time talking about things we haven't seen. So it's almost like a E3 bonus. You know, like, oh, here's another 2 hours of stuff that we would have put in E3, but we decided to save it for the fanboys, and here it is, and boom, 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 just like crazy announcements everywhere. Even like if they do something with the LA Noire PSVR would be great as well, like showing some of that off if it's even close to development right now.
Yeah.
But some big surprises I think are what we're waiting for, and
which is what I think E3 should have been.
I mean, we'll cover the shit out of it since we are TCSX, and we are here to give you your PlayStation news on a weekly basis, alongside lots of other bits and pieces.
Yeah. So I mean, wrapping up. From PSX, what I want is they need to show VR. That's more I think they need versus I want. They need to show VR, AAA, that they're backing, because they didn't show enough to me. I mean, third parties would be great. Realistically, don't think that's happening. I'd rather see Sony come out and say, hey, so-and-so studio that is working on this right now, even if they tease, and I said this during last week for Codename, if they just tease Uncharted in VR or just tease these things that they're like, it's not ready yet, because your argument is they're not ready to go. That's fine. Death Stranding, Last of Us are not ready to go. We're still showing it. Yeah. Like that's if you want to treat PSVR like you do everything else, treat it like everything else.
You know what would be great? And this I think
if they bring a Vita 2.
I'm still holding on to my new handheld.
You mean the Nintendo Switch?
No, if they're like, we want to show off
the real Vita 2.
3 big PSVR titles today, and they are from these companies. And then just on the screen, you get, boom, Rockstar, boom, Naughty Dog, and then like boom, Kojima Studios. It'd be like, would be like,
well, if it's Kojima's up there, you know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be Death Stranding.
Yeah, but if they had like, because he's working on other shit, he has an entire studio. Like, yeah. I'm sure Death Stranding is something they're working on.
But how many teams does he have?
He's been talking about looking at VR for a long time. So yeah. I would.
That's what I'm saying. I don't. It sounds bad because I'm always like, show me shit, but I don't need you to show me something. Just. Like I said with Nintendo, they showed us a roadmap. Show me where VR is going. We don't know where VR is going to be 6 months from now.
Let's see the support for it as a long-term platform, however that may look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the concern I have is that they're not showing that to us because they don't have it, which scares me.
I don't think
in the long run.
I mean, I know I'm a fanboy, but
we differ opinions.
I don't think that's the case. I think they have it. I think they are specifically holding it back for either PSX or for a little further down the line, because we're at a point now where we're starting to see AAAs, we're starting to see big ports, we're starting to see more and more that PSVR can do. And remember, with any early, we talked about it before, with any early console, they treat it like a console. Any early console launch, the launch games are nothing like the games at the end of the generation of that machine. So it takes time for developers to understand the mechanics, to understand the best way to move, to understand the best options. And if they come out with Move 2.0 and they're like, oh, these are Move 2.0 and this is what you can do with them, and then they show a game that's like designed for Move 2.0, come on, man, they're going to knock it out of the park.
That's a lot of ifs, though. That's where I'm at, is there's all ifs, nothing in concrete.
I'm a fanboy, what can I say?
Tom's a fanboy.
Right. So let's leave it for this week, I think. Anything else you want to add, or
no? What are you guys excited for PSX? What do you think you want to see? I really hope they show VR. I mean, as much as I give you shit for E3, that was their opportunity to show it to the wide audience. They still need to make a splash, because, as you know, as I keep saying, I'm supportive of VR. I just think I'm that nervous right now, where it's like, what happens
if they do go wild with VR, like really knock it out of the park, like everything that you wanted?
I don't even have to do everything. Just give me a couple.
Will you apologize for yelling at me?
I won't apologize for yelling at you, because my argument stands that they didn't do what they needed to do at E3. You said, is Sony doing enough as of right now to support PSVR? And as of right then, they were not. If we do this question after PSX and they announce Naughty Dog, Rockstar,
all right,
if they do that, then I'll be like, hey, hold up.
We'll have a different argument.
I'll have a different opinion. Be like, they are indeed supporting this platform, because the thing is the Vita. I don't want it to become another Vita. The Vita is a great system. PSVR is a great system, but it's not what they promised. That's my concern.
I don't think PSVR will go the way of the Vita.
Says the man who bought 2 PS TVs.
This is true.
So just pointing that out.
I also put a PSP Go.
Exactly. So anyway,
this is different, guys. This is different. I believe in Sony. I believe in Sony.
Like you believed in the PS TV and the PSP Go. And
I didn't really believe in those. I just got them because of Sony. But I believe in PSVR. Anyways,
this is TCSX.
This is TCSX, and also before we finish up,
before I do my rigmarole,
I'd like to thank you guys, because I don't know whether it was our SEO abilities or whatever, but we ended up number something in the charts for PlayStation podcasts, high up, like 2 or something for TCSX. First page. Codename was 2.
Codename was 2 and 3.
First page on YouTube for PlayStation podcasts, and Codename Morpheus, which is our show tomorrow,
which is
was number 2.
Episode 1 for everything.
When you search PSVR podcast,
PlayStation VR
podcast, which is incredible. So thank you so much for the support on those. We will actually, at time of you watching this, be going to Indie PopCon tomorrow, and sort of heading and setting
PopCon starts on Friday, but we're leaving tomorrow.
Yeah, we're leaving Thursday.
So there will be no TCSX next week.
Yes, there will.
Just heads up.
You will be dead. So there will be.
Kill me or I'll kill him.
Next week is like a no podcast week for any of our podcasts. We apologize for that, but we will have a ton of recordings from Indie PopCon, including our own panel, hopefully. So we'll be able to put that stuff up, and we'll put our panel on the podcast, and you can listen to that. So you still get to hear our charming voices. But thank you so much.
This is a good launch.
It was a good one.
It was real weird. So I'm gonna do my rigmarole with your rigmarole now.
Go for it.
This is one of those things where it's like, when we make decisions to change content, we don't take it lightly. We talk about it. We're like, hey, is this the right thing to do? And we both had a conversation a couple days ago, I guess now, where we're like, this was right. We nailed it. We know what we're doing, and not nailed it as in the sense of like, oh my god, look how many people are watching. We nailed it as in, this is who we are. This is our voice.
This feels comfortable. It feels good. It feels like it's not as stressful as it was before when we were confined.
Like, we gotta do this, and this, and because all we have to do now is record gameplay footage outside of one night.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
We record gameplay footage, and then, of course, with the supplemental stuff, the first stuff went up yesterday.
I'm working on something now.
If you wanted to learn how to create a foreign, and I say foreign as I know I'm foreign, but I say it as a sort of American.
You should have made a how to make a U.S. account.
Right. I thought about it. How
to make an American account. You got to hit the USA
button. If you are
button.
an American, which is where we make the show, obviously in St. Louis, Missouri. But if you are American and you want to learn how to make a European account, a Hong Kong account, a Chinese account, and a Japanese account, I put together 4 videos for you to learn how to do
cool little thumbnails with maps.
With awesome thumbnails that Keegan put together. And it's just a quick tutorial. You just they're like 5 minutes an episode, except for one where I include a bit of footage from Godzilla VR from the Japanese store. But they're really, really easy to follow. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer any questions in the comments. But those, of course, work for just regular PlayStation games too. So if you want to check out Japanese demos and see what kind of weirdness they have there,
download the Google Translate app too. There's an app that if you hold it up to your screen, it'll translate to English.
Word
so if you
Lens.
That's it.
Yeah,
couldn't remember who made it.
Great application.
Look that up.
But yeah, so those are available, and that's what we're talking about when we say supplemental content. But this has been TCSX,
your weekly PlayStation podcast, as you said.
Absolutely.
Apparently, first page of YouTube. I don't know what I haven't looked at the audio numbers yet because
I haven't either.
I don't think they've come in yet.
I think they were good though. Codename was really good.
Probably.
And our solo podcast, which didn't do well on YouTube, but did really well as a podcast.
But thank you guys so much for listening and or watching. If you're on YouTube, thank you. You can comment down below, give us a like, share. Sharing's fun. If you're listening to us on podcast services, please give us a rating on there. It does help us out. And again, sharing is the best way to support us. If there's anything you guys want us to talk about or want us to spotlight or anything in general, you kind of just like, hey, this could be a good question. 2 ways to do that. 1, you can hit us up on Twitter at Level2GamersSTL, or 2, there's a link in the description down below for our Discord, and you can send it there, and I've got a list. I use notes, as Tom has found out. I'm a notes man. I have notes and lists of topics that we're going to talk about. But if you guys have something, we'll give you a shout out and said, hey, so-and-so give us this topic. We're going to cover it.
Yeah, and don't forget, this is about, if you're into this stuff, we are so, amateur hour at this point.
Did you hear that?
I don't know what that was.
I don't know if that picked up on audio, but it went... I think
it was a truck.
I think it's a truck of some sort.
We're so amateur hour that we will literally include anything. We love talking to you guys, and this is about as open and accessible as you're ever going to get some YouTubers to be with you. I think we're proud of that too, that we engage with you guys on a daily basis when you comment and stuff, and we love comments. Thank you, actual dog, for that. I didn't know whether to reply in barks or sentences, but thanks a lot for watching, guys, and as always,
welcome to the second level.
Bye-bye.
It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level.